Do you think the Niners look at it and say, hey, if we can get off Tartt's contract, we could use that money to leverage for George Kittle? We can take the money we save by getting Adams and getting Tartt out of town and use that money and funnel it right back into Kittle so they can kind of trade for Adams and extend Kittle right after that deal.
Possible. But I'm cynical on the Kittle deal. I feel like the Niners are not going to give Kittle his deal this year. I could be wrong. I don't know. But I think that they're going to make him play one more year on his rookie deal. And Kittle's going to have to come back, make $2 million this year. And they're going to say, look, what are you going to do? Hold out? You got a chance to win a Super Bowl. You're going to pass that up? And I think Kittle probably won't because he loves playing. He loves the sport. He loves his teammates. He's invested. I think he'll give it one more go. Might not be happy about it. I don't know how happy Buckner was last year, right? So I think maybe you could keep it going for one more year. But next year, if he has another all-pro season and leads them to the Super Bowl, they better give him the extension. How do you mess with him at that point? I think they just might drag it out a little bit longer, which is too bad.
George Kittle's contract, it's been estimated he's going to get somewhere between $15 to $20 million per season. His agent, Jack Becta, hopefully I'm saying that correctly, he even said that Kittle is a unicorn and there's no comparison to him. And he even added he deserves a special type of contract. Even Niners GM John Lynch said Kittle's not going anywhere. So it seems like both parties are on the same page here saying, we want to keep you. We understand you want the same amount of money. But before I get into the question, to me, and I think most people would agree, Kittle is, in my opinion, the most complete tight end in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Now, we can argue how San Francisco used him in the playoffs. Maybe it wasn't the best way in regards to receiving the ball, but he is the Niners' most valuable asset on the offensive side of the ball. And so I'll just ask you bluntly, do you believe it is imperative the Niners re-sign George Kittle?
Yes. Blunt. Yes. I would have re-signed him already if I were Jed York and John Lynch. I don't exactly understand what they think, why they're waiting. But you said he's the most complete tight end in the NFL. I would agree with that. But I would go further. He's the best player on the 49ers, not just on their offense. He's the most important player on the team, and he's the face of the franchise. Not Jimmy. George is the face of the franchise. And it's not just how good he is. It's the way he plays the game. He has this enthusiasm, this energy. He plays hard, probably harder than anyone else on the team in the league. And he smiles. He has fun. And I think that type of energy is contagious. I mean, it's not just fun for fans to watch, but I think it rubs off on his teammates. And they see if this guy who's making $500,000 a year can play this hard and have this much fun, I should probably be able to enjoy my job too. I think he has that type of impact on the entire locker room and team. And if they were to convince themselves that they created him or that he was overhyped or that they could replace him, I think that would be just a huge mistake. And I hope they don't go down that road. But when they say that he's not going anywhere, I think that basically means, look, we can franchise tag him. So even if we can't come to an agreement, we have the leverage. And that's true.
I don't know how Kittle will love the franchise tag considering how widely regarded he is as a top 2, top 3 tight end, if not the best tight end in the NFL. But I'm looking at the highest paid skill position players list currently, and two things come to mind. One, there is no tight end inside the top 10. And two, nobody on this list, in my opinion, is as valuable as George Kittle is to the 49ers. Starting from 5, working our way up to 1, Devontae Adams, $16.4 million, Sammy Watkins and Tyreek Hill, $17.1, $17.7 million, AJ Green, $17.8 million, and Mike Evans, $17.9 million. All good players. And I know Green has the injuries and Watkins has been up and down in his career, but George Kittle is a much more impactful player in every aspect of the game. He is the best player 1 through 5 on that list. And if I'm thinking, if Mike Evans is getting 17.9, Kittle has to at least get 18 mil a year. And when you look at it again, he's not just going to reset the tight end market. He could very well reset the entire skill position player market in the NFL, which leads into my next question. Where do you see Kittle's contract ending up? Is it 18 mil, 15 mil? Is it inside that 20, or does it exceed $20 million a year?
Well, I think he could ask for $20 million a year. People say, oh, he's just a tight end. I don't understand. I don't get the concept behind that. I don't get the logic. I mean, he catches like a wide receiver. His receiving yards are up there with Julio Jones and the best guys in the league, and those guys don't block like him. So why is he just a tight end? Why are there no tight ends in the top 10 highest paid skill position players? To me, that's wrong. That's outdated and it's wrong. And what Kittle could do is he could frame it in his mind. Look, I'm not being selfish by holding out for a higher number. I'm doing this for all tight ends. They need me. I'm the best tight end. They need me to take a stand and to get as much as I can because that'll help tight ends after me. And he's always been very big on tight ends, National Tight End Day. He's proud of that position, and he should be. He's sort of put it on the map. I mean, Rob Gronkowski as well. I just don't understand why you would hold that against a player. It seems to me that tight ends do more than wide receivers. And if a tight end can catch like a wide receiver, you should be paying him wide receiver plus. Okay, but that wasn't really your question. What will they settle with? They could ask for 20. They could ask for 23. I don't think they even would do that. That's just unrealistic. If you ask for that, you're getting traded. I think they probably, and I don't know, I've contacted Jack Beck, and he doesn't want to talk about this on the record, off the record, and I respect that. But I think, how could they settle for anything less than what Dee Ford gets? Or Eric Armstead? I mean, they know that George Kittle is better than those two players. He's the best player in the team. Of course, he's not going to make as much as Jimmy, the quarterback. That's the economics of the positions. But Kittle should be making at least $17.5 million a year, at least. And I think Kittle would probably be okay with that. I mean, that would be making almost double what the next highest paid tight end made. He'd be making what you said, basically AJ Green money. I think that's fair. He'd be the second highest paid player on the team. And the fact that hasn't signed yet means to me that the Niners offer is way lower than that. I mean, I don't think they're going to offer him 11 or 12, but I wouldn't be surprised if the Niners went to Kittle and said, you're the greatest. We love you. You're just one of the best tight ends of all time. Here's $14 million per season. You're shattering the record for a tight end. You should feel really great about $14 million. And Kittle and his agent go, we would be like top 5 on the 49ers. It feels like a little bit of a slap in the face. And if you think about how far were the Niners and Buckner apart that made Buckner need to get traded, I'm thinking maybe 2 or 3 million. So if the Niners and Buckner and Kittle are 2 or 3 million away, that could be a deal breaker. It seems to me that the Niners are going to have to come up to 17, that Kittle really shouldn't go below that number. The Niners are going to have to meet him, I think.
Do you think it's more of a case of that the George Kittle, the Niners need George Kittle more than George Kittle needs the 49ers?
Well, I think the Niners would disagree with that, because the Niners would say, Kyle Shanahan can scheme anyone open. That, yes, George Kittle's a good receiver, but he gets a lot of wide open space, and a lot of what he does is after the catch. We've seen other players have success after the catch. Deebo Samuel's had success after the catch for the 49ers. I think Kyle Shanahan would probably argue that you just give me a really good blocking tight end and I can work it out in the passing game. But that's, I think, probably ego talking. I don't think you can't replace George Kittle. He does too much. I mean, just logistically, defenses can't put a linebacker on him. He's too good. You got to put a strong safety on him. That means that strong safety is not going to be doubling one of your wide receivers. So one of your wide receivers is going to get single coverage. His job is going to be easier. Kittle takes the focus off of everyone else in the pass. And we haven't even talked about his blocking. So I don't think you can replace him. If the Niners feel like, well, maybe we should keep Trent Williams because he's a left tackle and you can get tight ends, I think that would be misguided.
You kind of mentioned DeForest Buckner earlier, and you even tweeted out the Niners better not do to Kittle what they did to DeForest Buckner. And so I guess I want to ask you, maybe on your end, but also in the fans' opinion, is there a legitimate fear that what happened to Buckner could also happen to George Kittle?
I think absolutely there's a legitimate fear. Absolutely. The way I look at it is that whole thing fell apart because 2 million difference year to year. Does that sound right? I mean, Buckner wanted 21. I'm guessing the Niners offered 18, 19, and it fell apart. So if that's all it took for that to fall apart, what's going on here?
Yeah, all we can do is honestly hope that the Niners, I don't want to say pull their heads out of their butts, but can figure this thing out, because Niner fans are already pretty pissed off when Buckner was traded. Now we know what they got for it, and we know the opportunities it led the Niners to get. But trading George Kittle, or even not being able to re-sign him and have there be friction between your best player and, like you said, the face of the franchise, and the organization. Like we've seen this countless times from other teams and even in the Niners history at some points. But Kittle is so valuable to this Niners team in the running game, the passing game, the blocking game, whatever it is. He almost is the center point of the entire offense of what they do. And to me, losing Kittle is the one thing you can't do. People talk about, well, you can replace Jimmy. Yeah, you can replace Jimmy. Now, whether it's Tom Brady or Aaron Rodgers, whoever it is, I wouldn't want to do those moves, but you can do them, and you might find some success elsewhere. But George Kittle, you know, there's not another tight end in the NFL that can do what George Kittle does.